Books open to page 97 as we begin, and we had 10-ish problems on this page. 6 absolute value equations for 5 through 10, and then numbers 21 through 24, 4 absolute value inequalities. And then we also had a handout, which we'll continue working on today with some rational equations. But with absolute value class, the key is always to first isolate, and then you got to concern yourself with positive, negative. Isolate, positive, negative. It's just, what do you do with the positive, negative? Well, on 5 through 10 class, what do you do with the positive, negative? Make 2 equations with the positive, negative. On numbers 21 through 24, with the positive, negative, you're either going inside or outside. Okay, so that's really all it comes down to. Number 5, what did you get for your answers when you solved for n, Audrey? 10 and negative 4. Divide the 2 from both sides, so that n minus 3's absolute value equals 7, n minus 3 equals 7, and negative 7. Number 6, what did you get for your answers, Brandon?
14 and negative 22.
What did you get for your answers on number 6, Abby?
I got 2 and negative 2.
What did you get, Genesis?
2 and negative 10.
I got 2 and negative 10. Number 6, I'm not quite sure what made this hard, but we divide the 3 away and should get the absolute value of y plus 4 is equal to 6. Yes? No. That's not what we did? We didn't divide. Did you distribute the 3?
Yeah.
In spite of all my emphasis of don't distribute, isolate, you still distributed. You have lost favorite student status. I don't care if you do say bless you. I don't isolate. We're going to isolate you. All right, so anyway, then we do the y plus 4 equals 6. Y plus 4 equals negative 6. Negative 4s on both sides. There's your 2. There's your negative 10. All right, if there was ever a guy who needed redemption. Brandon, let's go back to you. And this is a challenging problem where, again, we're not going to distribute the 1/4. We're going to get rid of the 1/4. We're going to isolate. And we could kind of tie 2 thoughts together here. I could get rid of the fraction, which I hate in my equations, if I multiply everything, class, by the LCD, which is 4. It's the only denominator. Of course, it's the LCD. So if I multiply everything by the LCD, by the way, this is all one thing. This is a thing. That's a thing. Multiply everything by 4. What happens to the 4 here in the denominator, 4, class? Cancel. So I'm left with 1 times the absolute value of x plus 5, or we could just say absolute value of x plus 5. And over on the other side, Brandon, we get
12x plus 4.
And then we got to make 2 equations because we have our absolute value isolated. And if you isolate the absolute value, you do something with a positive, negative. So Brandon?
X plus 5 equals 12x plus 4. And x plus 5 equals negative 12x minus 4.
Perfect. And then we're going to bring the x over as a negative x. We're going to send the 4 over as a negative 4. We're going to end up getting what?
1 equals 11x.
So that x is going to equal
111.
And then over here, we're going to bring the 12x over as a positive. We're going to send the 5 over as a negative. To get?
13x equals negative 9.
And if you thought the first answer was ugly, folks, just wait till you see this one. Brandon?
X equals negative 9/13.
Negative 9/13. We're talking about ugly. I was talking about the answer, not about Brandon, just for the record. All right, and so, shame on you for thinking otherwise. Mean people, mean classmates you have. It's a good thing you have a teacher who loves you. All right, so, but I'm not just going to leave my answer circled like that, Brandon. Why not?
You have to plug them into the original equation.
Yeah, we got to check. Because there's an x outside as well as the x inside, we got to check these. And definitely using the calculator. So 1/11 plus 5, of course, is going to be 5 and 1/11. The absolute value of 5 and 1/11 is 5 and 1/11. And you're going to multiply that by 1/4 to get
5 over 54.
5 54ths?
5 44ths.
Who?
44ths.
40/4? That doesn't make sense either. Get my calculator out.
Well, I got
Somebody else have another answer, you can call it out anytime.
1 and 3/11.
1 and 3/11, someone like 1 and 3/11. I'm seeing a lot. See, thank you for. Any of you could have spoken up here, you know. 1 and 3/11. Let's try that. All right. So what? 3 times 1/11, class. 3/11. Plus 1.
1 and 3/11.
1 and 3/11. Hey, this checks. All right, are we expecting the negative 9/13 to check?
No.
Probably not, but you never know, so you got to check. Because we have had them both work before. So, negative 9/13 plus 5. Absolute value is going to be the same thing we have now because it's already positive. Then we take multiply by 1/4, and we get what?
1 and 1.
1 and 1/13. And then we take the negative 9/13 times 3, and we add 1, and we get what?
Negative 1 and 1/13.
Negative 1 and 1/13. Oh, does that check, class? It's really close, but it doesn't check. That is what we call an extraneous root. So just 1/11. Somebody got those two answers with the negative 9/13 extraneous. All right, great job, you two. All right, the rest of you, questions? Aren't you thankful for calculators? All right, number 8. Basically the same deal. Multiply everything, class, by 3. Thank you, that's the common denominator. And that'll leave you with the 2. The denominator 3 is canceled. P plus 3 is equal to 60p plus 18. We multiply everything by 3. But then we need to go through and divide away, class, the 2. So we end up with the absolute value of p plus 3 is equal to 30p plus 9. How many got to this point on number 8? All right, bless you. I wasn't sure if she was raising her hand or not. All right, so at this point, we need to make 2 equations, Maddie. What are they?
P plus 3 equals 30, p plus 9. P plus 3 equals negative 30.
And bring the 30, bring p over as a negative, get 29p. Bring the 9 over as a negative to get negative 6. And divide with the 29 to get negative 6/29 for p. And add it to get a 31p. Subtract to get a negative 12. Get p is equal to negative 12/31. Those are awful. Who writes these things? All right. I don't know. Which ugly answer do you want to check first, Maddie? The first one? All right, so negative 6/29. 6/29 negative plus 3 equals. That comes out positive, so when I take the absolute value, it's still going to be positive. Times 2 equals. Oh, that's right, I didn't write the original problem. Well, we take it from here, assuming we didn't screw up. The advantage of going back to the original is if you manage to screw something up in the opening step, nothing's going to check. So, which I guess tells you both answers are wrong. But anyway, you gotta be careful. And then we've got the negative, the other side. I hate this. 6/29 times 60 plus 18. Hey, weird as it may seem, 5 and 17/29 checks. So there we go. Negative 6/29 is our answer. I hate to even do the work, but it could work because the other negative did, and that negative could. 12/31 negative plus 3 plus 3. There we go. Absolute value stays the same. Oh, so it might work then. Times 2, 5 and 7/31. And then 12/31 negative times 60. 12/31 make it negative times 60. No, that's not going to work because that comes out negative. Yeah, negative 5 and 7/31. So it's close, but no cigar. All right, how many got that answer? Draw that. All right, good. A few of you can do it. Obviously, I can do it, but can you all do it? That's going to be the question. I'm talking to you, Gavin. All right, number 9. Let's go to Kendall.
Solution.
Yeah, don't you love problems like number 9? Don't you wish all of them on the quizzes and tests were like number 9?
Yeah.
Yeah, not going to happen. Number 10, class.
No solution.
No solution again. You saw that coming. Drop down a number questions on 5 through 10. Just hope they don't work out like that. All right, number 21. Inequalities. I don't set it equal to positive, negative. Number 21, what do I do in relation to the positive, negative? Because obviously the absolute value has already been isolated. Michael?
Hold up. I got to think. Oh yeah, you make an equation.
Well, not an equation. You do an inequality.
Make it.
Or maybe 2.
Yep.
Which one?
1.
1? And you're going to put it?
Negative 11 is less than x is less than 9. fine.
Sure, yeah. So we're going to go in between positive and negative 10, right? We're going to put the absolute, or the x plus 1 in between positive and negative 10. We're going to subtract a 1 everywhere. We're going to get negative 11 less than x less than 9. Or the better way to write that.
Parentheses, negative 11, comma, 9, parentheses.
There we go. There's our answer. What about number 22? Inside or outside, and which side are you? What? Anyway, do you know that song, Abby? Yeah, you know that song. I'll call on you then. Number 22, Abby, what do we do with this one?
You put it inside.
Inside the...
Negative 5 and 5.
Yeah, put inside the negative 5 and the 5. That's what w plus 12, w minus 12. All we have to do is add 12 to everything. And what do we get?
You get positive 7. I mean, yeah, 7 is less than w is less than
Double
17.
V.
Oh, yeah. Double V. I said 17.
17. And so really, we don't even have to write the double V because we're going to just put what?
Parentheses 7, comma 17, parentheses.
So Brecken and Gavin in chapel today, Mr. McDonald had up on the screens, welcome to chapel, whatever. He noted that the W is not a W at all. In fact, his first grader had pointed out it's actually a double V, not a W. Anyway, that's where that came from. Number 23. Let's go to Audrey.
No solution.
Yeah, it's already isolated. It's less than a negative. Can't be. No solution. How about number 24, Brandon? No solution. What if it said greater than a negative, class?
All real numbers.
All real numbers. What if it just said greater than a positive?
Good.
You go outside, wouldn't you? For instance, if this had said greater than, you'd go on w negative 12 would be less than the negative 5, and w negative 12 would be greater than the positive 5. They didn't say that, did it? No. Okay. Questions on this? All right, clear your desk except for a clean sheet of paper, pencil, and calculator. Give you an opportunity to demonstrate your vast knowledge.
Sounds so in
Yeah. This is school. We're supposed to be miserable, remember? Clean sheet of paper, pencil, calculator. First last name at the top of your paper along with today's date. Today is 10/15/21. Couldn't quite tell what you said. Did the Ides of October?
In chemistry, I wrote that it was 2015.
Oh, 2015. It's 10/15. 2021. Yeah. 10/15/21. Today's date. All right, this is quiz 11. Fairly straightforward quiz. You have 4 equations, 4 inequalities. Solve them. Use your quiz copy as a cover sheet. Keep your work covered. Do well. Have a good life. Not you, Brandon. Just kidding. I can't remember what you did at the beginning of the hour to lose favorite student status, but it was something. I don't remember what it is.
I distributed.
Better not do that now. It was more than favorite student status. Should be about halfway through the quiz by now. just about another minute or so to be finishing up. If you're watching on YouTube, I'll let you go ahead and pause it if you need a little bit more time. But those students in here are finished, so we'll go ahead and get rolling. If you want to go take out your handouts, we'll take a look at this in our next lesson. But for now, take out your handouts, and let's take a look at those 3 problems you did on the handouts, working with rational equations. There was rational equations. That's a fancy way of saying class equations with fractions. And how do I feel about fractions and equations, class? Hate them. Good. That was some good acting. Some unfair. That's good. Hate them. And so if there's something you really hate, like how many of you, your show of hands will not show up on camera. I didn't ask if you hated your sibling. Put your hand down. How many of you, there's a meal maybe again, I'm not going to rat anyone out, but there's a meal your mom makes that you just hate that meal. All right, and usually it's the meals that are hated. You love all the meals, that's good. We'll leave that student unidentified though, so no one else looks bad. But anyway, and all moms who are watching, if moms who randomly watch, can all feel like it was their kid. Surely, you did not raise the hand. Anyway, but you know how meals that nobody likes, always leftovers, right? Always leftovers. And the leftovers end up in the fridge. How many of you, be honest, you wait till no one's looking throughout the leftovers, what leftovers? They never even were. Or you push it to the back of the fridge so it'll start growing hair, and then once it grows hair, mom won't make you eat it. She'll throw it. Any of you, your mom makes you eat it even when it does grow hair. All right, that's good. That's not safe to do that. So any of you ever done that? You push it to the back of the fridge and hope it gets lost and forgotten about? Okay, yeah. All right, so anyway, you hate it. You get rid of it, right? Okay, we hate fractions. See, wasn't that safer than getting rid of Brandon? See, so I went with a different, I've never used that illustration before. That was just for you because I thought, I don't really hate Brandon. I shouldn't advertise fake news on YouTube. I could get my channel taken down. So anyway, no, I'm giving bad life advice. All right, anyway, so since we hate fractions, we get rid of them, but we don't push them to the back of the fridge. What do we do to get rid of fractions? Class?
Multiplied by the lowest common denominator.
Okay, we're too lazy to say all of that. Multiply, and there's a key word I need to hear. Multiply everything by the LCD. Okay, so that was pretty rough. Okay, so let's try this again. I know your brains were focused on those absolute values and that isolate instead of distribute and that positive negative nonsense, right? Okay, rational equations, fractions. How does that make us feel? Hate. Okay, so what do? Get rid of. How?
Multiply everything.
Multiplying some of you by the LCD. All right. So number 2, what's the LCD, class? 16. And when you multiply by a 16, that's a 16 over 1. That's a numerator 16, which is going to cancel with every single denominator. And when the 16 cancels with the 4 in number 2, class, it still leaves you with a 4 times the 3n, 12n. I'm too lazy to write all that. I'm just going to do that. 16 and 16 cancel cleanly, leaving me with 7n. 16 and 2 cancel to give me 8 times negative n. 16 and 16. And that cancel cleanly, just the negative 5n. 16 and 8. 2 times the 1, 2. And then comes the fun part, combining all the n's. That gives us a positive. That gives us a negative. Positive 19, negative 13. Positive 6n equals 2. And then to solve, we just divide away to 6. And we get n equals? 1/3. How many have 1/3 on number 2? All right. Any questions?
I had 3, so I kind of...
Did you get this and for some reason your brain
Yes.
just divided the 2 away? Yeah, it happens. I say the antidote to that is to actually put the 6 to cancel and show the n. But let's face it, I don't do that very often. I'm usually too lazy. So I don't do it. I just Try not to screw up, I guess. All right, number 6. We're going to have what LCD for 3, 5, and 4, Michael?
I did 60.
60. All three numbers are prime to each other, meaning there's nothing in common. 3 and 5 have nothing in common. 5 and 4 have nothing in common. 3 and 4 have nothing in common. So you literally end up having to multiply them all to get 60. 60 and 3 class cancel to give you 20. But the 20 you're left with has to be multiplied by the grouped v plus 1. Now, it's not grouped with parentheses, it's grouped with a fraction bar, but it's nonetheless grouped. The 60 and the 5 are going to cancel class to give you a 12. But there was a negative here as well, so it really ends up becoming a negative 12 that needs to be distributed to the v plus 4 that was grouped by the fraction bar. 60 and 4 cancel to give you a
13.
That'd be 52 and 4. 15, there we go. And so there's a 15 that needs to be distributed to the v plus 3. And a 60 needs to be multiplied by the 16. Nothing cancels, but 60 and 16 need to be multiplied class to give us 960. From here, it's just a lot of distribution. And honestly, you could have done in that same step where you were doing the other, but I wanted to at least show this much on the board. What do we get now, Kendall?
20 plus 5. And then negative 13. And then negative 42. Then 48. And then a positive 15. And then positive 3. Then 45.
Equals 960. She's like, I don't know why I say it doesn't listen to me anyway. Sorry, Kendall. All right, and so we combine our terms. We got a 20v, a negative 12v, a positive 15v. Let's do the 20 and 15 class.
35.
35 minus 12,
23.
23v. I've got a 20 and a 45
65.
and negative 48. 17, all equal to 960. 2 steps, subtract the,
17.
then divide by,
23.
do that all in your calculator because you're way too lazy to do that by hand. What do we get?
41.
41. It comes out whole number, kind of a random prime whole number, 41. How many got 41 for numero 6? Okay, questions?
So I got a whole bunch of different numbers, but I still came out with 41 somehow.
I might look at it after class if I'm interested.
I got 23v and minus 117.
What?
I don't
Equals
know.
960?
I don't know.
So you screwed up a whole bunch.
And then, yeah.
Yeah, don't do that. Yeah. All
I
right.
got the answer right though. I'm not sure.
So you just hope and pray that I don't actually look at the work on a quiz or test, right?
Yeah.
That would be unfortunate. All right, because I would dock points. Not all of them, of course. You get partial credit for having the right answer. But. All right, questions on 6? Michael mentioned what he did, sort of. Ladies, questions? We understand it now? All right, let's take a look at number 10. What's the LCD in number 10 class?
336.
You could use 336. I wouldn't, though. The 4, the 2, the 6, they all have a 2 in common. So that's a 2 I don't have to reuse.
84.
I'd go with 84. I look at the 7 and the 6, and I know they're prime to each other, so I'm thinking 42. I'm like, but 4 doesn't go in. But if I multiply by another 2 to get 84, 4 can go into that. So 84 is the best number to use. That said, you do have a calculator, so 336 can work. It's just, you can have some real big numbers. Let's treat it like the 84. Get your calculators ready, those who didn't use 84. Let's cancel 84 and 2 to get 42. And now let's distribute the 42 times the 3x, 126x, and the 42 times the negative 5, negative 210. Let's cancel the 84 and 41. Or, excuse me, 84 and 4 to get 21, but that's going to be a negative, looking at number 10. So negative 21 distributes to the x to get, and the negative 21 times 1. Let's cancel the 84, oh, there's my equal sign. Let's cancel the 84 and 7 to get, times 2x, 24x. I heard a faint murmur. I think it was back there. 84 and 6 cancel to give me 14. That wasn't on our memorized times tables. May want your calculator for this. 14 times the 5x. And 14 times the negative 11.
154.
Negative 154. All right, so this, again, you would have had something somewhat similar, you 336 people. It just would have been, all of these numbers are times 4 for you, basically. All right, so we combine our x's, 126x, negative 21x to get anybody 105x. Again, you would have had 420 other people.
Yeah.
Negative 210 and negative 21.
489.
How about negative 231? Because they're both negative. Add and keep the sign. Or a negative, oh goodness, 924 for you 336 people. Let's combine our x's here to get 94x or 376x, you 336 people, and then negative 154, which times 4, and that's what you 336 people would have. We need to get rid of the little x, which remarkably enough, the little x is the 94x. It's like the runt in the litter in Goliath's family. All right, and we subtract to get 11x. Again, when you got your x all by itself, or over here, you would have ended up with a 44x, you other people. Let's add the 231, almost like you're a different breed or something. Add the 231 to the negative 154 to get 77, or whatever that is, times 4. And you divide whatever you had by the 44, or I divide 77 by 11, which is easier to get x equals 7. Same answer either way, right?
Yeah.
And calculator does most of the work. So is there anything wrong with the 336 people?
Yes.
Well, not on this particular problem necessarily. All right, how many had x equals 7 on this, regardless of what number you multiply by? Questions on this? Questions on this? Well, let's take a look at number 13 now. Number 13 has something I hate, but it's not fractions. It's fractions in disguise. This is like, mom's like, they hate my toxic corn casserole. I know what I'll do. I'll make a broccoli casserole using the same ingredients, but broccoli instead of corn. And we hate that just as much. Trying to disguise it. It's still got the same overall flavor. I don't know, maybe some of you like vegetables. My mom's line was, it's actually quite good. And when I heard that line, I knew, be very afraid. Oh, try this. It's actually quite good. But, you know, in my family, you didn't say, now pass. Like, you didn't get the choice. It was, I'm serving. How many of you actually get to choose, like, whether or not you want to eat what's cooked? You spoiled rats. No. In my family, if it's cooked, you are stuck eating at least some of it. And if you make a pitiful enough face, but you don't whine, then maybe you can get out of finishing it. But taking a long time doesn't get you out of anything.
No.
It's no. So anyway. So we have fractions in disguise. Now, technically, class, we could rewrite number 13, listen carefully, as 375 thousandths minus 25 hundredths x plus 625 thousandths equals 5 tenths x minus 6 tenths plus 5 hundredths x. We could. And my denominators are all tens, hundreds, and thousands in there, right? What would be the least common denominator of tens, hundreds, and thousands? Thousands, right? But a quicker way, instead of multiplying everything by 1,000, when you multiply by powers of 10, you just move the decimal anyway. You should have learned that way back in 5th and 6th grade. Move the decimal around as you multiply by powers of 10. So when we come to decimals, what we're going to do is we're going to find the ugliest decimal. And there's a tie here. There's 2 really ugly decimals. Let's call the first decimal. Just kidding. And the girls are looking around like there's 2 guys in the room. I know where this is going. Or you can pick on our two video students, but they can turn me off. Y'all can't. So we'll pick on people in the room. Anyway, the ugliest decimal is the 0.375 and the 0.625. We're going to move the decimal everywhere that many places. So the ugliest decimals have 3 places. Everywhere the decimal moves thrice. So when I move the decimal thrice on 0.375, boink, 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 it becomes 375. Well, the next one, I move the decimal, boink, that's the 2, boink, that's the 5, boink. What does that have to be?
0.
A 0. So it's not a negative 25x, but a negative 250x. On the 625, boink, boink, boink. 625. Life is better with sound effects. On the next one, boink, 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 becomes what? 500x. The first boink was the 5, and the next boink, boink was the zeros. We're going to go to the 500x. I told you, I keep math simple. Annoying, but simple. Annoyingly simple. On the next one, we'll let Michael do this. Just kidding. We'll do this 6.6. And what does the negative 0.6 become? With or without the boink, boink, boinks?
Negative.
Boink, boink, boink.
6.1.
Well, do 6 boink boinks. The first boink was the 6, so negative 600. All right, so Michael, we're going to try this again. On the 0.05x, boink, boink, boink. becomes what? He just wanted to do this. He wanted to. I should let you. What did it become?
500
Oh.
x.
All right, the first boink is the 0. The second boink is the 5. There's only one more boink left. Okay, I'll write it on the board. I was trying to be lazy here.
I thought it was 0.5.
It is 0.05. So boink, boink. And the last boink has to get filled in with a 0. This becomes
0.
class
50.
50x. All right.
Sad boy.
How many remember this from Algebra 1? How many have no idea what we're doing here? How many don't remember from Algebra 1, but you at least understand what's happening? All right. With or without the boink boinks. Okay. So let's go ahead and combine some like terms here. I got big numbers, but it's not actually that devastating. 375 and 625. 1,000 minus 250x. And here I can combine the x's to get class
550.
550x minus 600. And the little x here is the, well, it's not a 250, negative 250. So it has to move over as a
250x.
positive 250x to get
800.
800x. By the way, I could knock zeros off the back end of everything, 1 0 off the end of everything. I will bring the negative 600 over here as a positive 600 to get 1,600 or 1,600. And then here, if I do knock off the zeros now, it's just 8x equals 16. X equals 2. Again, I don't like messing with decimals, but you don't have to mess with decimals if you boink, boink, boink your way away from them. Now, number 14. How many times would you have to boink, boink on this one? 2, because the ugliest decimal has 2 decimal places. What about number 12? Boink. No, that's not enough. 2, you need boink, boink to get it all the way up. Looking at number 15. This one's a weird one. I see fractions and I see decimals in fractions. It's like a double whammy of stuff I hate. Two different casseroles on the same night. Anyway, my mom is watching. I love you, Mom. I love most of you with me. My poor mom. She's never gonna come again. So basically, I understand how that works. If there's fractions with decimals within, if there's decimals in the top, move the decimal the same everywhere in the top. If there's decimals in the bottom, move the decimal the same everywhere in the bottom. The only place I see any decimals, class, on number 15 is in the denominator, in the bottom. And everywhere I see how many decimal places? Just 1. So in every one of those fractions in the denominator, I'm going to go boink, just the ones. So it becomes n plus 4 over 3 plus 2 minus 2n over 6 equals n plus 1 over 2. I'm glad Brandon has this. Minus 10 over
3.
Oh, Abby has it too. Good. All right, the rest of y'all got this? Okay. Do the same in the top as you do in the, or do the same thing in all the denominators, or in all the numerators, or I guess if there have been decimals in both, which would just be ghastly, do it in both. And then we're right back to the fraction equations. What's the LCD?
6.
So we're going to multiply everything by 6. I haven't showed it yet, so I might as well show one full problem. And we're going to cancel the 6 and the 3 to get
2.
And we're going to distribute the 2 to get
2n plus 8.
Thank you, Abby. You can drop out now. The next one, we're going to cancel the 6's plainly to just leave ourselves with
2 minus 2.
2 negative 2. Okay, Brandon, you can drop out. We're going to cancel the 6 and the 2 to get
n plus
3. And then we're going to distribute to get
3n plus 3.
thank you, Genesis. You can drop out. We're going to cancel the 6 and the 3 to get 2. And we're going to distribute, well, not distribute. We're going to multiply to get negative 20. I was going to let Kendall drop out, but she only gave me the 2, and Audrey gave me the negative 20, so you're both still in. Now, there is a little bit of stuff we can do to save ourselves here, some work. I got a 2n and a negative 2n on the same side, class. Cancel. I've got an 8 and 2 that combines to give me a
Negative 6.
10.
Oh, wait, 10.
And I've got a 3 and a negative 20 that combines to give me negative 17, which I can move over as a positive 17 to get equals, so n equals, easy enough? So in the end, while I hate fractions and I hate decimals, it's really not that hard to get rid of them. So I guess it's not that bad. Like,
Can we make sound effects every time we do it?
absolutely. Absolutely. Well, okay, that's true. It could be very distracting on the test. And then you'd be like messing with somebody's mind and you'd be working along and someone's like, what happens on page 3? So, anyway, my wife makes fun of me because I make sound effects for everything. Like I'm bathing the kids and stuff. And see, I'll say this. When I bathe the kids don't cry. My wife's bathe the kids, they scream. Okay? But when I'm bathing them, I'm like making sound effects the whole time I'm washing the little babies. And they love it. And she just washes them and I pour soap in their face and stuff. I was kidding. She doesn't do that. But she does have access to my YouTube channel. I probably shouldn't say things like that. Anyway, I move on. Number 16. Number 16 is a fun one. Because for the first time, all of a sudden, now look at that denominator. We see polynomial denominators. Write this down. If you have polynomial denominators, you're going to have to either factor or group. Does that sound familiar? Reason is we had to do that with fractions when we tried to add them. And the whole reason we did that was because we need the least common denominator. Well, here we're going to need a least common denominator. Clear them. So we still have to factor or group all of our denominators. Copy down number 16. We got a 2x over x plus 3, but I'm going to group that. Again, technically, I know it's grouped by the fraction bar, but it looks cool in parentheses. Plus x over x plus x minus 5, excuse me, put that in parentheses. Minus 3, I'm going to put that over 1. If you don't, you will probably screw up. And I speak thinking back to a quiz earlier in the year when a lot of people messed up because they just didn't know what to do with the fraction that wasn't a fraction. Make it a fraction. Put your minus 3 over 1. And then I finally get to factor something. 1 over
2 times x minus 5.
2 times x negative 5. So what is the LCD? If we were going to draw a big long line, what would go under the big long line?
X minus 3.
An x, or not an x minus 3.
I mean x plus
An x plus 3.
X minus 5.
An x minus 5.
And 2.
And a 2. So my LCD is 2, x plus 3, x minus 5. Now here's the difference. I don't mind putting a little 6 next to everything. I'm way too lazy to write 2x plus 3x minus 5. 2x plus 3x minus... Y'all lazy with me? Okay, well, okay. So I'm just going to look and say, well, I know the x plus 3 is going to cancel with that. But what's still left, class? The 2 and the x minus 5. So I'm going to put the 2 and the x minus 5. I'm not going to write what's canceled. Here the x minus 5 cancels, but what should I still write?
2 times x plus 3.
2 and x plus 3. You're doing this with me. Here what cancels? Nothing. So I'm left with the 2 and the x plus 3 and the x minus 5. What about here? What cancels?
2x minus 5.
So what's left?
X plus 3.
X plus 3. Strategy tip. Combine monomials before you do anything else. Get the 2 and the 2x together to get,
4.
and then distribute the 4x to the x negative 5.
4x negative 20x.
All right, Abby, you can drop out. Here, let's get the 2 and x together and then distribute a 2x, class. All right, Audrey, you can drop out. Here, I'm going to get the negative 3 and 2 together. And let's go ahead and FOIL here. First, outer, inner, negative 2x. I think I heard Maddie last. Negative 15. And let's distribute the negative 6. $90. All right, there we go. Genesis, you can drop out. And then here, x plus 3 times 1, class.
X plus 3.
Hey, there we go. Brandon's like, I got this one. All right. I got a 4x squared, I got a 2x squared, I got a negative 6x squared. They all cancel because these are the positive 6x squared and that's the negative. I got a 20x, a 6x, and a 12x. Let's do the 12 and 6. 18, put that with a negative 20. Negative 2x, careful. And I've got a random negative or positive 9 you asked your friends equal to x plus 3. The little x is the 2x. Move it over as a positive 2x to get 3x. Bring the 3 over as a negative 3 to get 87. Good, Kendall. And then anyone we divide the 87 by 3 we get. You have it on your paper. You're doing this right there with me. You don't need to see.
I didn't write down all that because I was doing
29 is our answer. 29 is our answer. Move the lectern out of the way for Brandon. All right. Questions on what to do with polynomial denominators? They're a pain, aren't they? Yeah. Well, just remember, sometimes your parents think of you as a polynomial denominator. All right, your homework for this evening is to do the handout. Numbers, I just put words in their mouth, they didn't tell me that. On the handout, do numbers 4, 8, 9, 12, 14, 17. Numbers 4, 8, 9, 12, 14, 17. 6 problems to do over the weekend on this handout. And we should wrap up rational equations on Monday in our next lesson. When the bell rings, you'll be dismissed. Have a wonderful rest of your day. And don't boink boink in your next class. Your teacher just wouldn't understand.